How's it going, guys, and welcome once again to the Foot and Fist Sports Network. It's time to go over UFC on Fox 21, Maia versus Condit. Now, the card had some very good fights. It featured finishes of every flavor, and there were pretty much every style of fighter on the card. The next welterweight contender was crowned, and a former champ returned to glory after a devastating slump. It was a memorable night in Vancouver, so let's break down where its brightest stars should go from here. With a 6-fight win streak and arguably the toughest division in MMA, it's impossible to deny that Maia should get a title shot. He made quick work of one of the best welterweights of all time. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is going to fight the champion Tyron Woodley next, so Maia will have to wait a little bit for his turn. The Brazilian isn't too bothered about it though. He confirmed in his Octagon interview that he will indeed wait for his title shot. It's a smart move considering how stacked the division is. He could lose to just about anyone on any given night. He won't be fighting for a while, but it's his best choice for his career. After arguably the most disappointing loss of his career, it's unclear what Carlos Condit will do next. He has been mentioning retirement for quite a while now, but he is too much of a warrior to end his career on such a sour note. He is still one of the best welterweights in the world without a doubt. He can compete with anybody in the welterweight division. His next fight should either be a rematch against Robbie Lawler, which was a candidate for Fight of the Year, and either that or against the loser of Tyron Woodley versus Wonderboy Thompson. A win there would put him right back in the mix for a title shot and potentially give him an opportunity to end his career as champion if he so chooses to do so. After dropping his last 3 fights, Anthony Pettis submitted 6th-ranked featherweight Charles Oliveira. He needed that win to stay relevant, and he's now back in the mix for a title, however at 145 pounds. It would be great to see him take on Max Holloway. Both guys are crazy strikers, and they put on one hell of a show. Depending on what happens with Conor McGregor, a win over Max Holloway could potentially make Anthony Pettis the #1 contender. Cub Swanson would also make a very good opponent for Showtime if Holloway is unavailable. Swanson is a very well-rounded fighter who could test Pettis one more time before throwing Showtime against the very best featherweights. Either way, Pettis' move to 145 pounds has freshened up the division in a big way. Paige Van Zandt did a very good job of winning what was essentially a tune-up fight. She can now resume her chase of the title. Marina Moroz would be a good choice for her next fight. Both women are young prospects who love to brawl. It would be an entertaining fight and would give Moroz a chance to make a name for herself against a big-name fighter. In a division with not so many fun fights to make, this would be a score for the UFC. Charles Oliveira is a great fighter, and it showed against Anthony Pettis. There is no shame in losing to a former champion, especially somebody who was champ at a weight class above you, and it will only help him in the future. His next fight should be a rematch with Cub Swanson. The two faced off in 2012, and Swanson came out the winner. It would be one hell of a fight considering where these two guys are at in their careers, and hopefully the UFC will make it happen soon enough. Jim Miller beat Joe Lauzon for the 2nd time, albeit with some controversy. Plenty of people scored the fight for Joe Lauzon. Now, it wasn't a bad performance, but it wasn't convincing either. It would be hard to give him a top 15 opponent after that, so he should take on someone like Diego Sanchez or Danny Castillo. He has fought both men before, and they are ranked near him. In particular, a rematch with Diego Sanchez would be interesting. Sanchez beat him by unanimous decision, but it was sort of a close fight that also ended up in controversy, so the rematch would be interesting, and most importantly, it would be a slugfest. Other than that, there aren't many compelling matchups that jump to mind for Jim Miller, so let's see what the UFC can come up with. Lots of people feel that Joe Lauzon was robbed. While I wouldn't call it a robbery, I do believe he won that fight. Much like Jim Miller, Lauzon should stick around the top 20. Danny Castillo would be a fresh opponent for him, considering that Lauzon has fought just about everybody in the lightweight rankings apart from Danny Castillo. A win over Last Call would give him an opportunity to get himself back into top 15 contention. Now, everybody loves a Joe Lauzon fight, so the UFC will without a doubt find him a very good opponent soon enough. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button, and please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments section down below who you want to see fight for the title, because we have Maia who deserves it, we have Wonderboy Thompson who pretty much deserves it even more than him, and then there's the fact that GSP also is in the mix for a title shot. So let me know which of those 3 guys you want to see take on Woodley. Once again, guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope to see you very, very soon on the Foot and Fist Sports Network.